Well, I'm on my way over to the barn. I started this video twice, and I ended up rambling both times. And I know I do that sometimes, but at some point you have to stop and say, okay, you're going in the wrong direction. So, our week, we went to a long week as the kids were off for school here in Canada. They're off till Monday. And we went over to Northfield Park on Tuesday, thinking we were going to train all the horses on Wednesday, and only ended up being able to train one set, and it poured rain. So we suspended not all operations. We suspended all training. I tell you, a big shout out to the guys that went back out there and jogged all the horses in the pouring rain. I would love to tell you that I was one of them, but I was not. So a huge thanks to them for getting the horses out and getting them worked. We did go out and train again on Thursday morning. Everything worked out perfect Thursday. All the horses trained good. We got a real good look at a couple of horses. I had Dr. Latessa do a full barrage of x-rays and a fluoroscope on them. Venice Blue Chip was one, only because she was riding over the shaft. And the way I put it to Jason Merriman was simple, and to the vet. If I see training trips stacked in a row where horses are doing the same thing, then it's worth looking at. If you go out and a horse is on a line one day, or a horse is a little off, or a horse is over on a shaft, okay. But when you see it after 2, 3, 4, 5 training trips, now it's something worth investigating. And Dr. Latessa said Venice Blue Chip, she's so big, probably immature stifles over on the left shaft a bit, but doing her work very, very well. He's actually x-raying ready for landing today. Same type of thing. I just want to make sure there's not something lingering there, because it's now time to start moving forward. Time to work. It's time to start working, and I want to make sure that all the horses are up for it physically and able to start down this long path. So a couple of horses here and there. We had a couple of them looked at over here, a couple of them looked at in Ohio, but for the most part been very, very fortunate. Been a tough year for a little bit of sickness at the start. We almost lost the one filly. It cost us a massive vet bill, but probably the only time that I've operated any stable in any capacity or trained any horses where we got a big vet bill and no one's complaining. And I'm one of your partners too, and we're not complaining because we're at the light. Yep. We're not complaining because that filly was, as I said, a very key puzzle piece to what we were trying to build in 2023. And it was very important that piece stayed on the table. So very fortunate, very lucky. Sent the surgeons at the University of Guelph a fruit basket the other day, just to say, I'm one of the horsemen that rag on the costs of the University of Guelph sometimes, because it's pricey. Now, in fairness to that particular cost, she was there 2 weeks. It'd be like 2 weeks staying at the Ritz with all the amenities and the mini bar cleaned out. So maybe a couple of times. So, but you know what? Just very, very thankful and lucky for the job and the work that they did. So, weren't as lucky with one of our other colts in Ohio, but I just in the other video I went off on a tangent about injuries in horse racing, and how at the end of the day the last thing you say in your head is, well, that's horse racing. I hate that saying. It's such a cast off, that's racing. Yeah, you're right, but it's also a real stupid saying, because it's supposed to be this massive encompassing thing that makes everything okay. What I was getting at was, yesterday we trained Hone the Tone 2-5. He hurt himself, left hind. This horse we've been waiting 5 months for. We had him good. He was ready to trot, or I thought he was ready to trot 55, 56 next week. And we trained him in 2-5 just to tighten him up. And he ended up hurting his left hind leg. Now, a big horse, he's had a couple of injuries, and so did Kings County. So it's not like these horses can't come back from injuries, but it takes time. A lot of the re-injury issues in horse racing is from not taking the appropriate amount of time. Same as humans. Doctor tells you to stay in bed 2 weeks, rehab your knee, your elbow, your hand, whatever. You do. And if you don't, you end up with a sore. When I broke my wrist, they told me the crack, we'll talk about that later in the weekend, the crack went into my wrist joint. They said there's going to be arthritis. You really have to rehab this, right? I went to physiotherapy every day for almost 2 weeks, and then went sporadically after that. They gave me the exercises. Now, I'm sure it'll hurt when I'm older, but my wrist works fine now. So Holding the Tone, he's going to have to be pushed back a little bit. It was very depressing for me because you're left asking all these questions to yourself. Did you miss something? Did you do something wrong? And you're never going to believe yourself if you say, no, I covered all the bases. I'll never believe that. It'll always eat away at me that I missed something. Now, Holding the Tone will make it back. And the injuries that we have in the barn, the injuries that we have in the barn, the horses will make it back. But it is upsetting to me when they get injured, as it's upsetting to you. So the only thing we can do is give them the best care. And give them the best care and get them back to the races and get back to work. That's it. So, out of the way is the gloomy news of the day, but the uplifting news is the way the horses raced in Pennsylvania. I made almost a new friend and a new favorite in HB Maestro. Just an absolute sweetheart to drive. Raced fantastic. You got your picture taken with Maestro, remember? Where at? Where'd you get your picture taken with Maestro? Pennsylvania?
With Cake and Tiger.
Cake and Tiger, they're over here.
Oh, with Cake and...
Cake's racing on Monday. So's Tiger.
And who's the Nolan horse?
What?
Nolan horse you say.
Oh, okay.
Is it Chippy?
Chippy?
Yeah.
I don't know. So, the horses raced great.
It's Chippy.
Okay. So the horses raced great in Pennsylvania. HB Maestro raced very good. Locatelli got a rough trip, but raced great. Patrick the Piranha raced great. Everybody we raced very, very good. The only horse that let me down was Sailor. We found out after that maybe when I scored him down, I might have shut his air off. But he's just getting to be a little bit of a hothead and hard to control on a smaller surface. So you'll probably see him end up in a claimer. Addy Bear. You'll probably see him end up in a claimer. And speaking of that, Macho Martini is in a claimer Sunday night, and I had some people say, geez, I hope we don't lose him. Well, we got to race them where they can do, right? And that has to be, rule number one has to be race the horses where they can do. And I believe that is a great place for Macho Martini, and those horses are exactly in those types of classes. So we need to start. You look at a horse like Grace, did everything she could. When you go on the track at 25-1, there's nothing you can really do. It's not really Tim's fault. We knew going in that she was moving up a class. Which class would suit her the best? I don't know if either would. So we'll look for a better class for her next week. If not, it looks like, at least last week, that Now Winners of 4 condition claimer in Dayton was a little bit cheaper. That's not to say it will be every week, but it was last week. So we'll see if we can find a spot for Grace also in the next week or so, and get her racing also. Some horses getting ready to qualify. Some horses schooled yesterday. Procrastinator schooled good. Blue Tesla schooled good. Now Mario, I just saw Mario. He told me that yesterday. He told me that Bravura needs another schooler, as does Cash Deals. But both those horses schooled this week. So we have a number of horses that schooled. No qualifiers this week, but a number of horses that schooled, trained, raced, and are getting ready to go again. There's Cunning Connie. I'm going to race Cintra tonight, but good luck to everybody. No free lunches in. I believe J.K. Mickey Mantle's in again, and Cintra is in tonight. A lot going on this week. Oh, Atlas Hanover race, fantastic also. So another good week at the barn and the track for the most part. Wasn't without its valleys for sure. One of them being an injury to Holding the Tone, but we'll get him back going soon enough. So for now, I'm going to sign off and let you guys go. I'm going to head in. We get some babies to train. I'm going to talk about all the babies. I'm going to talk about all the racehorses, everything in your videos this week. But for now, I am going to let you go. Take care.